Hey, this is Notser, and this is the Tier 8 Japanese premium cruiser, Atago. It has 10 main guns, 8 secondary guns, 36 AA guns, 16 torpedoes, a top speed of 35.6 knots, total health 40,100. For my modules, reduce crit chance on main battery, increase AA range, reduce flood and fire chance, faster rudder shift. And for my commander, situational awareness, basic survivability, basic firing training, faster turret traverse, lower cooldown on damage control, and advanced firing training. We are on the map north. I initially wanted to head for the middle gap, but I noticed that most of my team is headed west, so I'm going to try and cover the eastern gap. I love the Atago. The center aligned torpedo systems are a joy to use and a very unique trait for the Japanese cruisers. We see a couple enemies headed west. We're going to fire on the turrets because we're going to be behind an island. They're not going to see where we are, and hopefully we can do a little bit of damage. If we don't, it's no big deal. We're not spotted, obviously. Situational awareness has not gone off, so no harm, no foul. He does maneuver. Maybe that'll help my teammates on the western side. We're going to adjust and try and fire on the other turrets. We're using HE. I've been experimenting with cruisers in general. When I can use AP, when I can use HE, maybe get a little bit more aggressive with AP, and generally, especially against the turrets in a cruiser, long-range AP is not viable at all on Japanese cruisers and American cruisers. It's just not doing the kind of damage I need against turrets. You gotta get close. But if you are close, you could potentially use AP against a battleship in a destroyer, for instance. You're aiming for the waterline, you want the target to have minimal angle, but you can definitely get citadel penetrations with a destroyer against a battleship based on the mechanics of the game. Now, is it worth it? Probably not. Do you want to be that close? Probably not. But I'm just trying to experiment constantly. We're looking for good games to share with you. This is a good game. It is rather short. You could see most of my team is on the west. I'm pushing an open flank that I believe is going to remain open. Most of the enemy team is headed west also, so they should bump heads. We do know that there's an enemy destroyer somewhere in front of us. We're going to fire on this Cleveland because he's not at an extreme range. He's only 13 kilometers away. We can engage comfortably, and he's looking away from us, so we don't really have to worry about him returning fire. And the Atago guns, fantastic. They do have a higher cooldown than, say, the Mogami or even the Myoko. Myoko and the Mogami both have a better rate of fire, and that's sort of the premium aspect of the ship. Premiums are not supposed to be as good as the tier equivalent fully upgraded. Now, we were almost going to run into this island. We slow way down to get full rudder for port side, and then once we've cleared it, we're going to keep on going. We do see a couple enemy ships attempting to turn, and it's a little concerning. There's a half-held Cleveland, which we're going to engage, of course. He's engaging us. We have guns that can do fantastic work. We're going to switch to AP, since most likely he's going to show his side. And when he shows his side, the Atago can definitely exploit any vulnerability you might show. We aim at the waterline. He's moving towards us, so lower gun depression. And we're able to do minimal damage. We do see the enemy destroyer. We're going to send out torpedoes, widespread. We're not really interested in killing. We just want to slow them down. Look how many ships are interested in killing us now. Whoa, buddy. We got to get the hell out of here. Another waterline shot with AP. Just checking to make sure I'm not going to run aground. We're trying to maintain good angling against the enemy, but also return fire. You can see we'll wiggle in, bring all the guns to bear, we'll fire on the enemy, and then we'll wiggle out. We just wait for the back guns 1 or 2 seconds, and then we fire again, and we land minimal damage. It's not worth it for the damage output we're doing right now, so we switch back to HE. We do want to try and work on that enemy destroyer right in front of us. He's gaining ground. In a situation when you're fighting a destroyer at close range, give them ground. And one of our torpedoes took out that Cleveland. Awesome. Just need one. Torpedoes do a lot of damage when they make contact. We do 3K to the enemy destroyer. We re-angle against the turrets. I know he's going to fire. Of course he fires. He's firing HE. That's just fantastic. I choose to put out the fire whenever I'm in a cruiser. They just take too much damage if you allow the fire to burn. That could be my downfall. Again, we're going to fire on the Farragut. He's showing his side. He's way too easy to hit. He's got to do a better job of maintaining a neutral angle or countering whenever I fire my guns. I know what he's trying to do. He's trying to send out torpedoes, and we're about to reload. He hasn't changed his angling. Fire on the enemy Farragut. We take out the enemy Farragut. But look at what just happened. They took out steering, and damage control is down. And it's just slightly turning port side. And I'm like, oh, crap. I'm going to run aground into the island. The Farragut torpedoes not going to hit us, thankfully, but this is not good. We've got at least 3 enemy ships, destroyer, battleship, and cruiser, and this is dead in the water. This is bad, 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 bad. Can't do anything. Gonna run aground, and we're spotted. The Tirpitz is not looking at us. Don't know why. Maybe he felt like a friendly would come to the rescue. I know they're super far away. This was more on me than anything else, but I saw an opening. I wanted to do as much damage as I could, and by the time I reacted, I probably stayed maybe 10 seconds too long. We see the enemy Fubuki. We fire on his position. We don't really have an angle to get torpedoes immediately at him, but if he continues on that path, he will run into those torpedoes. Widespread. The Fubuki has an idea of what we're trying to do, so he's wiggling his ship, but you can see how much damage we're doing every salvo, and the Fubuki sent out torpedoes. Oh no. We're like, okay, we're gonna die. We just were able to use damage control, but we don't have the ability to move quite as fast as I would like. We're still barely moving. In a last-ditch fire, we're trying to kill him, and he's barely alive. Dang you, Fubuki. We do, however, get him very low. Someone asked, why were you running into the island? Well, I didn't have steering. That's probably why. Somehow the Fubuki died. Great! We paid him back for those torpedoes. The Tirpitz takes a lot of torpedoes, and we've given our team a huge opportunity to win the game. Very low health targets, taken out 3. So, in that position, I did a fantastic job of doing damage to the enemy, but I did a terrible job of minimizing the damage and the threat to myself. What you probably should have done is gone the east side and gone a little bit forward just so you could engage one target at a time and pull back until they've committed fully to coming after you. When they do, because they will, whenever they see someone cross that magical 50% line, they're all like, wow, let's go kill him. Then you can use your torpedoes in a retreating manner. They'll probably run into them, or they'll have to maneuver for them. You can exploit that, and you'll do a much better job than I did, because I was aggressive because I saw an opening. I'm always going to take advantage of that, but I stayed too long. I went a little bit too deep. I didn't read the situation. I figured 1, maybe 2 ships would come, but that definitely was not the case. 5 enemy ships chose to try and push that flank, with 3 of them dying to my hands, but 2 of them surviving. So that's the way it works. It was a fun little engagement. We got this friendly Hatsuharu send out his torpedoes. His torpedoes probably not going to make contact with the Tirpitz. I switch over to the North Carolina. North Carolina has a much better opportunity to kill these targets, in my opinion. If the player's competent, the North Carolina is a dominant force at Tier 8. The enemy Cleveland ran aground. I don't know how he survived so long. These destroyers should have fired on his position. Since he was stationary, so what if they see you? You kill the Cleveland. He's under a K. Now, some of them don't have range. The friendly battleship finishes him off. Not surprised. He only needed to land 1 round. And the Tirpitz showing his side. This should be an easy waterline penetration. I wish I could see where he's aiming. He's definitely still reloading, but he's going to have his front guns available. Got a bunch of destroyers escorting him. He fires on the enemy. And whoa! Did he lead that target way too much. Way too much. He's 9 kilometers away, and he led him like he was 16 kilometers away. I take a quick look. I see there's a lot of enemy destroyers, very low health. One of them is taken out by a friendly. Probably the other destroyer is going to fall before this battleship. Based on the way I'm seeing these players move and the overall score they've got, they're not going to get in a position to do damage to the turrets that isn't meaningful. Friendly North Carolina fires on the target, and he only does 7k. The guy's broadside. This is like money shots, and the friendlies finish off a low health destroyer. The game was short, but it was exciting. We were able to move forward, kill a couple ships, use a torpedo or two. We were able to blunder into an island. It was satisfying taking the Fubuki to the bottom of the sea with us. I hope you enjoyed seeing me fail. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you next time.